What's going on, guys? It's your boy Yoshi Mitsukana coming back at you with another video. So this isn't a demo checkout or a let's play or even a ranking video for that matter, but this is a sort of review of this awesome indie game called Dave the Diver. I'm gonna call this the patient review. So Dave the Diver is an indie game that came out last year, and since it was recently on sale at the summer Steam sale, I thought, hey, let me give it a shot. It looks interesting enough. Plus, it was only like $9. So, after playing it for about 10-12 hours, I kind of feel like I have to say something about this incredibly, wonderfully crafted game. So kind of want to talk about the graphics, the characters, the story, the sort of atmosphere, the gameplay mechanics, and just a couple little other things, that make the game special. So starting off, you play as this character named Dave. He is a diver, as the title would suggest, and essentially what you're doing is you're diving into the ocean and you're picking up random sort of fish within the sea, and you are picking up like kelp and other knickknacky things that have fallen in the ocean. And at night, after you've did your diving and gathered all the fish that you can, at night you work at a sushi restaurant with a guy named Bancho, who is in fact the GOAT. Just want to make sure everybody's aware. It's an addictive gameplay loop where every single dive feels like, okay, I'm gonna get as much as I possibly can without dying. And the best part is like you continue to go on, and as you increase and start really getting good at the game throws another curveball at you. So essentially, you'll get to a new part of the ocean you haven't explored, and this fish you can't seem to capture because you don't have an item for it yet. And it's really fascinating how it sort of peppers in new mechanics as you continue to play, always keeping the gameplay fresh. Catching some fish is easier than others, obviously, but sometimes you'll run into sharks where you have to sort of fend off their attacks, and you have to time your swimming ability to ensure that you don't get hurt, but also to, stay alive so you can get the precious meat, because the better the fish, the higher the sushi makes of the amount of money you can get. So the gameplay mechanics are tight, they're innovative, and they really fit into the sort of mythos and world that they've kind of built up with Dave the Diver. So I kind of want to segue into the atmosphere of the game. So Dave the Diver is a sort of calming yet intense game at moments. It feels very even. I feel that this game has a very great vibe in terms of consistency. It never feels like I'm annoyed with the amount of things I have to do, and it never stresses me out to the point where I get angry or frustrated. I mean, granted, there are a few times I've died and I'm just like, oh, this sucks, but I'm always ready to go back in for another dive because I know that, okay, I made this mistake, let me do this instead. So the overall atmosphere is both calming and challenging at the same time. The colors of the game really make the world feel alive and open and just very lived in. I really got to give it up to the graphics in this. The sort of 8-bit style really gives this game so much charm that honestly you can't help but want to spend more time with Dave and his gang. Speaking of his gang, I do have to give a shout out to some of the characters, like Dave himself, being this sort of laid-back diver guy who's always willing to help his friends. Dr. Bacon, who's like this sort of researcher who's just obsessed with the sea people. Bancho, who is this sushi chef, and he is one of those most memorable side characters, I think, in the game. Cobra, who's like your shop manager, he's like a greedy guy. And then you have Yoshi, who's like your manager. And don't forget about Otto the farmer. And then of course you have the sea people, like the King Tenzin and his daughter, and how they interact with each other. All the characters have such great nuances and beautifully written dialogue that they feel alive almost. I can honestly say that they're some of the most memorable characters when it comes to an indie game or just a game in general that I've played. Each character doesn't feel like a caricature. They feel almost like a person, and you can kind of like almost follow what they're saying in terms of personality. Like, okay, this is a person I'd meet in real life, so it's very grounded in that sense. Even though that some of them are mer people, you can still kind of relate to some of their worries and their woes. So the characters are incredible. Now the story itself, I think that's one of the things that I haven't really been able to sort of digest yet, just because I've only gotten to chapter 3. However, I do feel as though the game is starting to take a turn in terms of where the story is going to go. It first started off as you just trying to explore the ocean and capture these fish and, open your sushi restaurant and make more money. But slowly it evolves into this lost civilization that is on the brink of extinction, and Dave has to lend a hand to them, otherwise they'll all die. Honestly, I haven't really gone too deep into it, but that's kind of where I see it heading. So definitely a plot that's worth continuing on, as I do want to see what happens, but it doesn't overstay its welcome or be the sole focus point of the game. So, and then finally, I do want to talk about the sort of rhythm of the game. There's a very clear cadence. You go into the ocean, you get some good fish, and then, oh, you realize you have too much weight. So you go back to the surface, and then in the afternoon, there's new fish. So, you get a good run going, and then you unlock the next main story mission. So you go back up to the surface and you work at the sushi place at night. But oh, it looks like a new VIP character came to the sushi, so you have a fun side quest to sort of satisfy them. They may end up joining your sushi team, or they are just a character passing by with just a slight story. So I do love that sort of rhythm and gameplay loop this game has, because it is very simplistic, yet it has a lot of challenge and creativity that changes it up just enough to create this sense of discovery each time you do the next thing. I never really know what to expect sometimes when I'm playing this game, but that's not even really a bad thing. It feels like it's more so the game wants me to be entertained, so it's thinking of the next thing that could potentially keep me entertained. So Dave the Diver is an absolutely wonderful indie game. It's been a while since it's been out. I believe it's been out for a year now, and a new DLC just released called the Jungle Pack, and I do intend on playing that at some point once I finish the base game. It's full of charm, it's full of whimsy, the colors are amazing, the characters are memorable, the gameplay loop is addictive as hell, and it's just challenging enough that it doesn't lead to insane amounts of frustration. I recommend everybody go check out Dave the Diver right now. It is one of those games that I think will surprise a lot of people with a lot of the elements, the story, and the world itself. Don't sleep on this game. I was being patient and I waited till the following year for it to go on sale. So if there's any patient gamers out there watching this, this would be the time to either add it to your backlog, or if you already have it in your backlog, to tackle it now, especially with this really crazy heat wave going on right now. It's perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like this type of content. This is my Dave the Diver review after about 10-12ish hours. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure that you're being safe out there, whatever you're doing, whatever time it is. I just hope you're having a great time and it's safe. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.